Monday meditation. Just breathing through the nose. Breathing in the prana Shakti. Really early on Wednesday morning, it's called the super flower full moon eclipse. It's like 1:45 in the morning Pacific time, which means we're kind of only a day away, really, like end of Monday night, beginning of Wednesday. Moon is kind of like the mind, right? It's always changing. So you could ride the eclipse two ways, most likely. It could eclipse you. Your mind could be, you could be a crazy person. But if you're meditating, you can eclipse your mind in a good way. Divine mind. Just breathing into that thought. Into that stillness. So when the mind is eclipsed, it's like the negative archetypes of these Ajna chakra, and if you want to call the Sahasrara even a chakra, it's more of a kind of a launch pad to infinity. So once you get up into Ajna, it's called, this brow chakra, there's an eclipsing of your ego ultimately, right? But it's still there. That's the difference between that chakra and full spectrum consciousness, right? That there's still the shadings of you, this egoic edge, which, let's say, that's fine, right? We like to be unabsorbed as much as we like to be absorbed, it seems like. So from that point of view, we sort of active in the world, project out as this person, right, in the world of duality. And there's a certain joy in that, in the process of it all. And then at the end of the day, we're just ready to like, enough of that. And then into the super absorption department. So there we go, right? We're oscillating between these sort of outpour and this kind of absorption. So since both of these are so active and there's so much fulfillment in each one, I would say ultimately there's greater fulfillment in the inside out, just because that's more comprehensive and that's the source, right? So let's just start with that. The mantra of the hum, right, becomes higher up into Hamsa, where Shiva and Shakti are dancing together. This is sort of the uniting of consciousness with itself. I can say that the Sahasrara chakra owns all the power, right? This is like the nuclear, right? The Sanskrit alphabet, Hebrew alphabet, all these divine alphabets that are vibrational, link us to the source through sacred living word. It's all opened up, right? All these syllables are vibrating. The 1,000-petaled lotus is kind of a metaphor for, I believe they've discovered 962 frequencies that are there. So they're pretty close with 1,000, right? There's these nadis, these filaments come up. and they link in. It's like we're plugging into God up top. And just see how that feels, right? Evidently, all the chakras are contained in the Sahasrara chakra. So it's kind of like when each one is fulfilled, when each one is open, when each one is balanced. It's almost like Jacob's ladder, right? That's what they call it. You climb up Jacob's ladder and then link in. So let's just quickly drop back. Earth chakra. Feel the integration into the planet. It's like we're going to build the ladder quickly here. Earth chakra to the planet. Feel that. Just notice Mother loves you, Mother Earth. Into this water world of the second chakra. The journey begins with the deep self, emerging as subconscious, unconscious, bubbles up. We're trying to figure out who we are. Kundalini is awakening. We bring that up through this projection out into the world, through the Manipura, city of jewels, worldly attainment, worldly power, 1, 2, and 3. Right? External world mastery. Which is great, but ultimately not as fulfilling as galactic satellite dish. Oh my goodness. We can go so much more expanded than limited material world projection. But let's say, speaking on behalf of worldly material projection, I will vouch for the fact that the physical world is amazing, right? It's where we can attain the divine, because angels can't turn off faucets. It's a little too murky in these astral universes to really grab it like we can here. So we're just like thanking these, call it lower frequencies even, that establish us in our base, right? Establish us as aspirants of this ascending path of light. So in the power structure of the chakras, we're building towards infinity up through the heart, through the inauthentic parts of us into the authentic, into this lover of the deepness, lover of life, lover of love. Expand the heart up into this void space ruled by space of the heart, of the throat, living word, radio station, receiving, transmitting. All right, where this voice, inner voice, begins to cultivate, getting deeper in touch, and then that goes up. Let's say when we connect the tongue to the roof of the mouth, so many divine phrasings, words have this L connection, which links the electromagnetics up through the brain to the top. The vagus nerve can fountain like Las Vegas, connects to the right brain, down into the heart, to the gut. Vagus nerve, right side vagus nerve kind of is the, call it biological, physiological pathway of the Kundalini. But it's really a more subtle essence. That would be just how it's kind of vibrating in consciousness on the physical level. But this Sushumna channel with its solar and lunar Nadic systems balancing, just rising up into that system. So the full moon approaching, this is good timing, right? The energy is building. Good time to move the Shakti up into the Ajna, above the head where this other chakra vibrates. let's just become more aware of these two spaces. Ajna chakra is in the middle of the brain. It's female chakra. Very oceanic energies. It's clairvoyant. It's mystical. It's dream time. It's kind of the realm of the ancestral. Because the grandfathers or the grandmothers or the teachers, the elders hold the wisdom pool. So they're sort of the lords of the higher chakras. Because they're just less interested in all this other stuff. So at that point, their heart mission is to take care of the families and the people. So let's connect to that energy that's out there in these troubled times. All the tribes have their mystical communicators. Granted, they're not always listened to. But nonetheless, you can put Gandhi in jail and it doesn't really matter from the deep consciousness point of view of Gandhi. Because he's Gandhi. He's gone. He's beyond. So maybe that's scary for some folks, right? You go, oh, if I go up into that chakra, I'll disappear. Fall off the end of the world. Get absorbed into the great unknown. Well, if we're going with the, call it the healthy archetype of the brow chakra, it's not the intellectual, it's the intuitive energies that are so knowing and trusting in the universe, trusting in the goodness, knowing the goodness, speaking from the goodness, representing the goodness. So I would say if you're on this broadcast, you're doing that, because that's kind of what we do. Just representing the goodness, letting the goodness roll out. There's no lack of goodness, nay. It's just interference, things that get in the way. So what can you say? Goodness carries the day. A poem written in that moment for you. So we're just breathing into the goodness. What better place to go? When the news is strange and there's clashes and people are hurting each other. All right, what is this? This jackling is the face of the unmet needs, says Marshall Rosenberg. All right, so where people's needs are not met, they're crying out and raging. So many needs. So essentially to take Jung's advice and to ascend with the chakras as a spiritual exercise, kind of psychological hygiene, right? Kind of take care of your root issues, then take care of your relational issues, then your power issues, then your heart issues, your communication issues. And here it gets maybe a little more confusing, but it speaks for itself, right? It's just my experience is that this chakra opens when it wants to. It sort of goes against the randomness thing of the universe. It's not random. It's highly divine. It's like when your karmas are not balanced, it's just really hard for that filter to be clear, right? So at the time it, for me, really opened up was sitting in I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago, sitting in a mountain retreat in India on the top of An mountain for 30 days, where just so much stillness, so much redirection inside that kind of like you got a tour of the inside out universe. And that is infinitely more profound than this one. I can testify to this. So, what's more subtle determines the outcome, right? So if you're anchored in your subtlety, we will prevail. So we're doing that. So this third eye links to the nose, the olfactory bulb, sense of smell, which links us to the earth chakra, right? So it's kind of the top and bottom, the tapovan of this spinal cord, central nervous system. It's your superpower, right? All this intelligence that's down the middle, kind of caps it at the top, kind of like a telomere cap. And yet that's not the stop gap ultimately. It's almost like we said, there's this ladder, goes up even higher into the kupala, right? Into the infinite. So you're hearing the sirens in the distance. I always like the thought that the languaging of emerge and see. Sometimes it takes an emergency to wake up, right? To sort of galvanize the brain. So we're harmonizing with the frequency that is more ascended, whether it's coming in from the stars or star visitors, or just the dimension, the seventh, call it the seventh dimension of this highest chakra, this merging center. Let's go with the little tambura. It's kind of, this center is a Hummer. It's a, well, not a vehicle like that, but a different kind of vehicle. It's like radiant, harmonious humming. I'm just keeping my mouth closed and sending frequency up into the upper part of the mouth. It just goes right up into your brain, vibrates the pineal gland. And the pineal gland aligns itself with your atlas major vertebrae, which is kind of a male energetic there. And when those two are in alignment, there's a nice sort of benign refinement that links you back to your amygdala, essentially your reactivity brain, right? When something hits your amygdala that don't tickle your fancy, then that amygdala be madder than Nancy. So, gets crazy stuff. So that triggers hippocampus, boomba. So if this pineal gland and atlas major is in harmony, it heals the upper spine, would be one way to put it, right? That it's like this particular instrument of your brain, upper brain, is no longer insane and is flowing with a nice steady state frequency. It's kind of like the tambura. Here comes the bride. That's how you can remember it if you want to tune the tambura. Here comes the bride. Marriage of Shiva and Shakti. So it's like an Om going up, and you can craft it according to your bones. So it's literally just vibrating the top of your head, vibrating your internal brain, drops it into more of a wave, synchronicity, harmonious entrainment. Just feel that. You can literally vibrate different parts of your brain. The bones are resonant. And the more empty your head, the better the resonance. So if we're just full of blurp, not good. So emptiness has its value when we want to be really still, obviously. The mind is fully capable of leaping right back into action at any moment. It's like dogs we know, right? They just jump all over you. They're just so happy. But the mind nested like a bird, tucking its wings in, meditating. Just feeling that beautiful peace. It comes with that slow vibratory entrainment of the Om. Greatest act of compassion for your body. Meditation. Just looking at some of your writing. I'm gonna need my glasses. Yes, it's good to become a tambura. Yes. Oh. If you wrote something earlier in the scroll, I have to catch it later. Aloha, New York. Aloha, Kim. Aloha. Chris Judge is my music guru. Hi, Chris. Namaste. So that's the healthy archetype of the Sahasrara chakra, is the guru, right? The inner teacher. That part of you which knows everything. There's no problem with that part. Fully realized already. One of my external physical gurus used to say that, well, he said a lot of things, but he said that everyone is worshiping God in their own strange way. It's just what we're doing. So the top chakra archetypes, like the narcissist versus the deep knower. So that part of us that thinks it knows everything, that doesn't want to grow anymore, what is this idiot in us? Probably everyone is slightly narcissistic. Probably need to be, just to survive. But the healthy archetype of the Ajna chakra is the intuitive mind, which is celebrating the benign nature of the universe. And so it's safe. It knows it's made out of love, and therefore the narcissist doesn't have to get any revenge from anyone. From the readings I've done, or just the observation in the universe of clients, is that people who are wounded after the age of 3, for whatever reason, are very aware of their wound and are very quick to want to be resentful and attack folks for it because they perceive them to be the perpetrator. And so that is sort of the foundation of the narcissistic personality, evidently. So when we're wounded deeper, earlier, we're not quite as evolved, or we haven't reached a certain stage of separating ourselves out enough to even know that we're separate. That this part struggles with internal stress, right? Because we're battling ourselves ultimately there. And probably doesn't help that the culture's response to initiation on the second chakra level is to drown us in water and rebirth us somewhat violently. So that can be a problem for certain traditions where there's very stinging little rituals that launch us into life. Not exactly a dolphin tank birth. So let's just do that. Let's just go into it like a dolphin tank birth in this moment. Birthing ourselves in this, it's like a newly acquired spaciousness. It's almost like if you know there's a penthouse apartment where maybe you didn't know that before, you can go visit, right? It's like, whoa, check the view out from here, dude, right? So there it is, right? The invitation is always there from the Supreme I Am. And it seems like not always so easy to scale Mount Everest in that regard, right? By the time we get up this high in the chakras, there's a lot of distractions. It's like a lot of cultural pullback on us, right? Hey, you can't escape. You can't go and get liberated. We're too miserable. Muktananda used to talk about the barrel of crabs. That Indian crabs, they didn't have to put tops on the barrels. Because if one crab climbed out, the other crabs would grab you and pull you back. So, does this sound familiar in this competitive world of people sort of trying to climb over you somehow? So many issues in healing sessions are issues with bosses and authority. Ultimately, it goes back to their parents, but right, they're battling this inner authority. So it's like recast it into the divine self and surrender, ne? I got a text from someone today that their interpretation of going into higher spiritual states was that it was pure solipsism. There's pure self-indulgence. And there's truth to that, right? Meaning you're going into yourself and you're indulging, but it's not to be construed as the ego self, right? It's not the effed up self. It's this supreme observer which, if you've been tuning into these meditations for a while, this is pretty much where we always come back to, because kind of that's what the deep self wants. It's like access codes to this penthouse apartment of the infinite. You can just sort of, go up and chill. And like anything else, once you've done that for a while, it's kind of like you want to get back in the game, right? It's like, come on, coach, put me back in. It's like, how long can you be in deep sleep? At some point, you gotta pee, right? You gotta get up and, right, face the morning. But then you get into it, right? And you don't want to go back to sleep. But then at the end of the day, oscillatory experience, nay. I like the story of Babu Shetty. He was this, I've spoken about of him before, if you've been listening, there's this long white hair, white bearded guy at the ashram in India that kind of looked like God sitting there on the well ledge. And he would just watch everyone go by all day, and certain people would chat with him, and I was one of them. And I used to ask him, Babu Shetty, you seem like you've attained something, and what are you gonna do? Are you gonna take another body when you pass on? Are you coming back? Like, did you get it all while you were here? He's like, oh no, I am coming back. It's like, tell me more. And he'd be, oh, soccer, cricket, you have to watch cricket. Cricket is God. And so for him, this play of 3D reality was just fine with him, right? In this sort of eternal soul revolution, he's happy to come back for the cricket game, right? So imagine him, Babu Shetty's playing cricket into eternity. So then, what would be your predisposition? What cricket game do you want to play? What's the loop pattern of bliss in a higher frequency that you would just merge into assiduously? If you're a musician, you just want to come back and play more divine music. If you're a lover, you want to come back and love more. If you play golf, let there be eternal golf. Why not, right? It's out there, it's beautiful. Hit the ball. Watch the trajectory in time and space. Feel the wind. So what I've always loved about spiritual practices is that while you think they're airlifting you out of your hell, they kind of do that, but then they sort of re-land you in your hell with a nice spacesuit or with something that's, now you have the tools to deal with it, and it's kind of not so bad, right? You can see everyone as God, and then there you go, right? So just breathing into that. Oh. Shivaya Gurave Satchidanandamurtaye Nisprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Niralambaya Tejase Niralambaya Tejase Om. We might feel that part of the problem with the ego archetype in us is it's way too full of rules and control and it has to be this way and kind of habituated and we're kind of like robots in that regard. And petty bureaucracy, all these people that acting out their little power plays on us. But float up a little higher. My advice, this is the number one technique for me, is if you get much bigger than the situation, not as an ego thing, just spatially, right? Space is alkaline, space is forgiveness, just huge space. Then the problem just gets smaller, right? Just becomes a little mosquito on your windshield and poof. So easy to forgive, right? So easy to let it go. But if you're shrinking in the presence of the problem, that sounds like a title of a book. Then you're getting smaller and not good, right? So you're going to be battling a giant monster. So get huge. It's one of the siddhis. One of the supernatural powers, just become huge. Like a little side benefit of your meditation. Well, see you later, guy. Duck into the side door of hugeness, and the person is left there screaming at you or mad at you, and then all this space. Less clash. When my grandfather was dying, I wasn't able to be with him for his exact exit. I'd gone back to California, but there was a few days before that where I was just sitting with him quietly, meditating, and this is sort of a good example of these higher chakras at work, that all of his rules and regulations and has to be like this sort of the cranky grandfather that he could be at certain times, just all kind of melting away as he was dying, as he was kind of ascending through this egoic captosphere into something bigger. And it's just, he would just break into laughter, just ha 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 ha. He was sort of seeing the folly of it all. And even though I would maybe every once in a while go, "That's great, Grandpa," I would say something like that, but mostly it was telepathic. It's just like we were meditating together, and he was like flying along with me. It's great. Just like, you can do this for your elders, right? When you're with your parents, when they're leaving, when your grandparents are leaving, it's like they're climbing Jacob's ladder up to this fontanelle, right? The Buddhists call it the Poa spot. It's like your James Bond ejector car seat. You're out of there, right? Your somatids know. Oh, you just got run over by a truck. You're out of there, right? All these little beings in your blood just, right? They organize and launch you. And evidently, there's a whole, it's like we have a stash of DMT and melatonin that's sort of encased around the Ajna chakra. It's kind of like in Home Alone, you know, where the bad guys come in and he sets up this massive trap, right? And they trip wire and all these things fall on their head kind of thing. Well, we can go beyond, right? We can outwit this stuff. Escape the booby trap. Let's go right out the top. Poa spot. So around the pineal gland, that booby trap is ready to go. As soon as your somatids say, "Oh, you're dying now, you're out of here," it's like the booby, it's like it releases all the serotonin, all the DMT, all these incredible chemicals that only your body can make. I say LSD is just even like a bad version of this, right? It's an external drug trying to do the same thing, but your natural chemistry will launch us. This is the testimony of the yogis, will launch us out of the top of our head. And if you've been very naughty, you might come out another end. Seriously, that's what they said. Most people probably come out their eyes, maybe their throat, right? There's an exit portal up top, hopefully coming out the top. So, yeah, we want that DMT, that melatonin to eject us, right? To send us into that tunnel, into the star accompaniment, into these beings of light that take you from there, right? It's like Disneyland. But the good news, it's a benign universe, it's all under control. Don't worry. It's not your control. Much better. Supreme Command Control. Right? Cosmic Coincidence Control Center. Take care of your communication issues. So that our biophotonic beingness, biologically communicating at the speed of light, everything in perfect, synchronistic, cosmic sequencing. You know, the channel material suggests that all aspects of time exist simultaneously. It's all there now. Every experience you've ever had is like a piece. It's like a little piece of the film, right? A little frame of the film, and you can hold the entire film, and then you can run it like a movie, right? So you got all the parts of the movie, but then you like to run it a certain way, right? It's Babu Shetty wants to watch this cricket game, right? Because there's so much joy there. So we're running our little movies, projecting them out. So if we're being governed by the intellectual drive, trying to think it in too much, not connecting to the heart part, left brain, scientists not connected to the vagus nerve, think it's okay to blow up people kind of folks. That's not the intuitive mind, right? And then this sort of narcissist at the top, that you could go either way, right? You go into supreme bliss, into the surrender to the divine self, or you could think that not only are you God, but you're better than everybody else kind of deal. And then, you know, there's certain politicians who can get like this, né? So, we anchor in the supreme I am. Whoa. It's like the happy place, the thank you place. Just feel that gratitude surge. My experience, and this seems to be according to the texts as well, that The chakras are kind of like power voltage units, right? It's like a storage battery. So when you've powered up all your chakras correctly, you are one mighty rocket. You are one divine tree. You're the sacred access pillar, right? And everything is all set to go. You get blast off. We have liftoff, Captain. Into space you go. Because space is the place. Because we're space beings. Super light. Full of light. Whoa. So if you had a bad day and things are kind of stressful, you can just like, well, actually these are different frequencies, I'll wait for this to stop. Well, this is the Ganesh Bell, we're just going to ring it. Clear away all the obstacles. Thank you, God. I'm just clearing away all the obstacles. Anything that's in your way, bothering you, stuck, blocked. Stupid thoughts, idiot people, stupid rules, crazy politicians, whatever it is. We're asking the higher intelligence to remove these blocks. Well, I won't name the party, but Fareed Zakaria the other day said that this particular party needed an exorcism. So this isn't just for that particular party. Let's just say we just want to cast out any badass demons that shouldn't be there no more. Demons be gone. Get out of the way. What's that Jimi Hendrix used to say? Move over, Rover, and let Jimmy take over. But in this case, Jimmy would be the supreme being. Oh, hope you're having fun here. We're expanding with the universe. A flash bulletin from the ancestors. Time for didgeridoo. Okay. So didgeridoo is classic Aboriginal instrument for dropping us into the dream time, linking us to these beings that came before us, that have something to teach us perhaps, or we have something to give to them. That works both ways, right? So we're going to send them billions of dollars. Right, sending them love, the folks in your family going back 5 generations. Clean out the pipes, rock their world, send them the love. Oh. breathing. Hey ya hey, hey ya hey, hey ya ya hey ya. Hey ya hey, hey ya hey, hey ya ya hey ya. Hey ya hey ya, hey ya hey ya, hey ya hey, hey ya ya hey. Hey ya hey, hey ya hey, hey ya ya hey. Hey ya hey, hey ya hey, hey ya ya hey. Hey ya hey ya, hey ya hey ya, hey ya hey, hey ya ya hey. That's the earth healing song. Permission given by Chief Charles Tom. Now Shasta tribe. So Chief Charles Tom is in the Kuruk Indian tribe. So we've been invoking Shiva and Shakti. Shiva chant. Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Thank you everyone for being here. Whoops, today. I just want to feel your blessings. Just sending out into the universe thoughts of a better world. Just blessing everyone. It's easier for them to experience love. Namaste, namaste. See you on Thursday.